everyone, and welcome back to my How to Zine mini-series. In yesterday's video we looked at outsourcing our zine or doing it yourself, looked at some materials to create a zine from home, and some examples from other artists I admire. And today we are taking a quick detour to look at some front cover art for the zine. So when I was putting my zine together on the computer, I realised I hadn't given the front cover any thought and quickly decided to just ignore it for a while because that's what I do with problems, I ignore them. So I sorted out a whole bunch of other printing problems, researched shipping policies and Royal Mail and all of that stuff. And then it came time to print the zine and I realised I still hadn't got a front cover. And I figured I was putting it off because the front cover kind of says everything about your zine. It can intrigue the viewer or bore them. It can tell them, look at me, this is what I'm about. Or like confuse them in a sea of clashing colours and hard to read fonts. So I was putting it off because I'm not a graphic designer and I didn't want to get it wrong. I didn't want to reuse an image because it felt lazy. And I didn't want to create something super random that didn't fit with the theme. So I was sketching some more endangered animals in my sketchbook over Christmas. And I thought about doing a whale for a while. So I thumbnailed out a few images of how the whales could swim across the cover. But when you look at just at the front side like this, the whales look a bit weird cut off like that, and I didn't want people to think it was a zine just about whales anyway, so I scrapped that idea. But I had an idea to do these weird ink splat doodles over here, and I figured that would be pretty cool to try out. So I made a bunch of ink splats and blobs and streaks. I really like these streaks, but I didn't use them in the end. Maybe that's for the next zine. So I did all of these on A3 paper, so when I scanned them in and scaled them down, they would still have a lot of texture and detail. I really love these splats that I kind of blew out and thought they would make a pretty dramatic front cover. So I scanned them in and I did them in sections because my scanner's only A4, and then I had to stitch them together in Photoshop. So if you're familiar with Photoshop, this probably seems really easy for you. If not, it is kind of easy. You basically just use a combination of levels to match up the colors and the saturation, etc. from each of the images, and then a whole bunch of masks to get them to stitch together, and it's basically done. So then I added a little bit of text, found a font that I really liked. It's actually the same font that I used for my YouTube thumbnails. And then I did a quick little blurb on the back just to explain what the zine was about and that it's raising money for charity. So I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. What do you guys think? And then for the insides, I really wanted to make a stamp of my new avatar that I designed last week, and also the WWF symbol, which is the little panda. And I was gonna stamp each of the pages. I just thought that would be really fun. So I spent ages carving out these stamps, and it was pretty tough. Like, I'm not a stamp artist or a stampist or whatever they're called. This is how they turned out, and the panda's not too bad, but my face, oh my word, it is scary. I could not be putting that on the cover of a book. So I jumped back into Photoshop and I used the same ink splats that I had for the front cover to mask out these two little symbols for the inside cover. And I think this looks way more professional than those other stamps that I made. Like, they would have looked terrible. So I'm actually really happy that those stamps didn't work out because now I have a front cover that I'm really happy with. So that's the front cover, and tomorrow we're going to be moving on to the big step of designing the zine. So it's a pretty simple design, but I did have to take a crash course in InDesign, so I'm going to be going over those basics in tomorrow's video. So I hope to see you then. Thanks for watching, bye!